Hello. Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 129. So what we're going to do is pretty much look at what we've got up ahead for next week, well for this week, and compare analysis from last week as well. So without further ado, we'll check in with gold. So what we were looking at from last week was this idea that price could potentially push over to the downside. And yeah, pretty much that's what we're seeing right now. So we're pretty much waiting for price to rally to the upside. So we're seeing some little spike right now. I'm not necessarily sure if this is going to be the move that's going to continue, but we're just looking at if we can hold from this and push higher. And as you know, 1760, this is the level that if we break lower, we could be ending up pushing a lot lower. So again, once we get to that level, we'll just need to see what's going to happen when we arrive there. So with EU, what I'm looking at is two possible scenarios. One in which price may reverse to the upside. The other is if we continue selling off to the downside into 103. So that's pretty much where I want to leave it for now. I'll probably just move this to the side as a fundamental kind of area, as where we could expect price to just drop low. That's where I'm going to probably leave it as that for now. New Zealand dollar to the US dollar. So as we can see, this actually failed as we broke through to the downside, so probably could get rid of that. And we can see that the second scenario here actually pretty much kind of played out just a little bit better than I thought. So this ended up being the next kind of drop. So what we need to see now is that is this going to hold or is it going to rally up higher. So again, looking at 0.61, seeing if we can push up, but again, we're not necessarily sure because we need to wait for that momentum to kick. But as always, because we still could look at some sells, we could see price push lower and then probably look up for a move higher as one scenario, or the other is, this being the turnover, it could start to rally higher. So it's pretty much one or the other. If we take a look into AU, again, this scenario didn't hold, but the second one more or less kind of played out. In this case, we started to see price kind of drop to the downside and slightly start to pick up the pace to the upside. So now I'm just pretty much seeing is this going to now hold, or are we going to see some more entry options towards the upside mid-week. Again, we're not necessarily sure, but just need to wait and see if it's going to play out. But I'm looking for something like this. Okay, so if we take a look at UJ, what I'm looking at is one or two scenarios where we'll get the sell off. So we had this kind of play out. I was expecting more of a deeper pullback before making a new high, I guess. But what ended up happening was we made a high and then it kind of like dropped. So what I'm thinking right now with this is the possibility of pushing up higher once more. And then here we need to see what's going to happen, if we're going to continue or we're going to reject. So I'll probably just leave it for there for now. Mainly we're just here, but if we start to break lower than 134 or 131, 133 or 134, we could be pushing lower. So just keeping that in mind, and roughly, that we could be selling off there. So I might just draw that in. So we could look at like a retest scenario, like so, keeping it simple, nothing crazy, but that's what we could be anticipating. If we drop to CJ, so with CJ, what we could look at again here, I'm actually going to probably keep this scenario in, what was it, 26, 24, so that about here. So this scenario kind of played out where we ended up making a newer high, but I was expecting a bit more of a drop. So right now, what we could expect is a drop lower and then this move higher. So I'm actually just keep this in mind. Just keep this. This scenario actually played out because we would have been here. So the rally to the upside and then the drop. So whatever happens here, we'll either get continuations higher, or we will get price to drop off to the downside, and then we'll have to kind of visit that scenario and just kind of like wait. So these are the two options I'm looking at for CJ. So if we take a look into EJ, I'm actually looking at a similar thing again, so I might actually leave these pairings or these annotations drawn in. So was expecting more of a downside move, so we kind of did get that. What I'm looking at now is seeing if this is going to hold. So at 140, if it can rally to the upside, so I might actually just keep that in. I probably will get rid of this, because if we then break lower than 138, it could mean something like this. So we get that scenario playing off here, and that's just going to be kind of the outlook that I've got. But we need to just kind of stay patient and just see what's going to unfold, obviously, not just with this pair but with all of them, to be fair. With AJ, I was actually expecting more of a rally to the upside, if I'm being honest, but the second scenario kind of played out more towards the market very well. Yeah, pretty much we just saw this drop, so around here, so we had price drop lower. So what we're going to see now is this going to be the one that's going to hold it, or we're going to see price, you know, rally through to the upside? So we could look at sell or and a buy there, or it could be a continuation play. We see price go a lot higher, something like this. And yeah, so something like that. That's what I'm thinking with AJ. And then finally for the US dollar pairs, what I'm thinking here is price to gradually start stepping up. So it was right here. So we started to see that gradual. So I was expecting a bit more of a pullback. So what could happen here is price come back up and then sell off. So I might actually just leave that in, because I didn't think of this. But what could happen is something like that. The price wants to come back up just a little bit more, test something around the 0.96 level, and then it could pierce lower into 0.94 and then push higher. And I probably will keep these two scenarios here. So just being aware of that and what's unfolding so far with USD Swiss franc. And then what we've got here is US dollar. So probably will keep this scenario again where I'm looking at price to, so we've got this scenario end up playing up last week. So you know, we ended up seeing prices kind of fall down, but then we start to see this kind of motion happen where it started to recover. So just seeing now, is this going to push over and push higher this week, or are we going to push lower? So something like this. So we'll get a break here, then possibility like that. There could be a nice move there. So we'll see what happens in regards to obviously USD CAD and amongst the other pairs for this week. But I'm thinking, yeah, we've got the NFP this week, which I thought was last week actually. So there could be a lot of slow movement, but nonetheless there could be some possibility of some possible moves during the week. So just have to keep our eyes peeled and see what happens for this week. So if you did find this video helpful, leave it a like. If you haven't done so already, my friends, make sure you're subscribed, and we'll see you all next week.